why I decided to move to Puerto Rico. What's up, guys? It is currently 6 in the morning and I am about to make breakfast because I am meeting my trainer today at 8, making pancakes for breakfast. So I'm gonna do what I have to do because I don't have a lot of time this morning. Your coffee in the morning, but this is like my revival. I live for my coffee in the morning. So breakfast is the usual for me. Pancakes, 3 eggs, 2 pieces of lean ham, a bunch of cut up strawberries, and sugar-free syrup. I would take this meal on my deathbed. That sounds dramatic, but I'm not even being dramatic. So I'm gonna eat now and then I'll tap in with you guys when it's time for me to get ready. So I just finished my breakfast. I am honestly going to leave the dishes in the sink right now because when I have mornings where I need to be out the house early, it's like if I start one house task, now I'm vacuuming, I'm freaking dusting the ceiling fans, like I do too much. So I'm gonna leave it, take care of it when I get home. And I'm gonna start getting ready, but during this time, I would like to talk to you guys about why I decided to move to Puerto Rico, since it seems to be such a frequently asked question. And everybody's like, why Puerto Rico? I mean, I think anybody who's been to the island can vouch that it's beautiful here. It's warm, it's got beautiful beaches, the culture, but I'm gonna get into all that with y'all. I wanted to do a quick fit check before I left the house, but I'm running late, so we're gonna have to wrap it up. I forgot to mention I have adopted an outdoor cat somehow. Get out of my house! I would love to take him inside, but I can't. I'm gonna feed you. I can't take him inside because I would have to take him to the vet and make sure that he doesn't have any diseases or anything like that, and like right now, that is just not an expense that I'm willing to take on. So I do feed him before I leave. Even though I'm running late today, I still make sure I have time to feed him. His name is Paco. My brother named him when he came to visit me in Puerto Rico. Come on. And it kind of just stuck. Come on. He meows a lot. I can't. Not my security guard ready to protect the fort. So I just got to the gym. I was feeling really good and then I started driving here and now I'm like tired. And it's freaking leg day and I just know he's gonna be on some freaking bullshit because on Mondays he likes to be on bullshit. And if he's watching this, to my trainer, I love you, but man, I don't feel like having my legs obliterated right now. But I'm already 6 minutes late, so I really need to get my ass inside. Let's see what kind of bullshit this man is on today. Good morning. I already see people doing lunges. He makes me hate lunges.
Mira.
What?
Vamos a hacer los lunches. 50.
I knew you were gonna tell me that because I saw she was doing 30. I said if she's doing 30, that means I'm gonna do 50.
Lo suelta.
And then back again.
Yes.
Bro, this man has me lunging there and back the whole gym. 50 fucking pound dumbbells. That's 100 pounds on one leg. I'm talking shit about you right now. I'm talking shit. I don't know who he thinks I am.
Puñeta.
Fuck you. Finished my leg day. Oh, it actually wasn't as bad as I had anticipated it to be, but I'll never tell my coach that. So now I'm going home so I can freshen up and get ready for a shoot with a videographer. We're gonna shoot some content at my other gym, and I'm hoping that him and I have work chemistry, so that way I can kind of like take him on and start building my team. I feel like that's the one thing that I am missing when it comes to my online presence. I don't have a team. It's always just me, myself, and I, and sometimes you need help, but I'm gonna tap in with y'all when I get home. My videographer texted me that he has to reschedule, but I'm not mad about that because I really didn't feel like rushing to the next gym to have to shoot content, to then rush home, get ready for salsa. So what I am going to do is I'm gonna eat my food, my lunch, because it's lunchtime, and then I am going to sit down and finally explain to you guys why I decided to move to Puerto Rico and kind of give you like a little bit of a background story about me too, because I don't really think that I share too much about my personal life. I like it that way, but I do think that being vulnerable with my audience will definitely help you guys kind of get a better understanding as to why I am the way that I am, and I've made the decisions and the choices that I've made for myself in my life. So yeah, I'm starving right now. I was currently asking ChatGPT a question. I don't know if I'm the only person who literally talks to ChatGPT at least 50 times a day, but after I'm done explaining my story about why I moved to Puerto Rico, I am going to go to a cafe, get me a little matcha latte, and then sit down and do some work. So that's another reason why I was excited when the videographer had to reschedule, because I'm like, yay. Now I can go to a cafe and do my work and enjoy my life. I did forget to mention that I didn't do my cardio earlier because I figured since I was going back to the gym, like I would just do it then. And I also thought I was pressed for time, which is like not the worst thing in the world, but like I wouldn't have blow dried my hair. You know what I'm saying? Because now I gotta go sweat again or try to find time to get back to the gym in between working and salsa. Whatever. I guess it's not that deep. Okay, y'all, it is finally time to talk about why I moved to Puerto Rico. But before I get into that, I do want to kind of give you guys a little bit of like background knowledge about me and like who I am and where I grew up and stuff like that. I'm gonna do my best to do that without like telling you guys my whole entire life story, because I'm like, I'm one of those people who kind of jump from topic to topic when explaining something, and then like it all ties in, but like my ADD is just like, it makes the story more confusing. So I was raised in Long Island, New York by my aunt and my uncle. My parents did not raise me, but they were around. They struggled with substance abuse, so unfortunately that made them unsuitable to be my parents. I was lucky enough to have a family to take me in and treat me like I was their child. My aunt and uncle raised me since birth, so I basically almost didn't spend any time being raised by my parents. My dad spent a lot of time in and out of jail. My mom spent a lot of time in and out of jail growing up. So I had to deal with some really crazy experiences, and I think a lot of that has forced me to grow up very young. But as an adult, as a healed adult, I do forgive my parents. They're no longer around. My mom passed away in 2018, and my dad passed away in 2022. Yeah. So I still love them. As an adult, it's been hard for me to accept certain things that I've had to experience as a child, and why it has made me certain ways that I now have to be intentional to work towards, not being that way. But aside from that, I have a wonderful aunt and uncle who took me in, me and my younger brother, and basically treated us like we were their kid. It never felt different. It never felt like unusual for us, I guess you'd say. The unusual part about my upbringing with my aunt and uncle is actually the fact that they did foster care and ended up like adopting a whole family of, brothers and sisters. And there was 11 of us in the house growing up. That was unusual. And I'm sure that you can imagine how chaotic. Again, I think my life experiences have shaped me into who I am. They're not the most normal. They did have their ups and downs, but like at the same time, I don't wish it to be any other way for myself, because I love my family. I love my cousins, who are basically my brothers and sisters as well. I appreciate the experiences that I've had growing up with them. I'm very fortunate to have had the life that I had. So yeah, I grew up in Long Island, New York. Graduated high school. I tried going to college for 2 years. I dropped out when my mom passed away. So I didn't finish college. And then I ended up working a full-time job at a pharmacy for like 5 or 6 years. And honestly, I was miserable at that job. It was actually kind of scary to think to myself that, like, at a point in time, I thought that that was my end-all be-all. Like, this was it for me. I'm stuck at this location. I'm stuck in this town for the rest of my life. Just feeling very boxed in. And I've never had that dream for myself to like live a regular life. And not that there's anything wrong with people who do live a regular life where they just work a 9 to 5, or they marry their high school sweetheart, or like they have kids young. Like, that's cool. Whatever floats your boat. What you do with your life got nothing to do with me. But I never saw that for myself. I always had bigger dreams, and I always had like this burning passion in my heart that I was meant for something more. And I also have always loved tropical places. So, I didn't always know I was going to live in Puerto Rico, but like, I knew I wanted to be somewhere hot. And if anyone knows about New York, like, the winters can be very brutal. I mean, even the spring and the fall sometimes can be, colder than I like. I don't really like the cold. But, so I ended up quitting my job, in September of 2024. I was dating a guy at the time, super toxic relationship, and it was just really going downhill. There was like one day, like I kind of just like crashed out. I crashed out and I just quit my job off whim. I didn't really have a backup plan. I didn't know what the fuck I was gonna do. I was doing my fitness influencing at the time, but I wasn't making money off of it. So I had to like think of a way, like how can I make money off this? And I started online coaching a few months later. So I would say I probably launched my app in like February of, I got my timelines messed up. I quit my job in September of 2023, and then I launched my online coaching platform in February of 2024. Okay, I'm a year off. I launched my online coaching platform, broke up with that guy, or he broke up with me, whatever. We broke up with each other. Thank God, okay? Because that situation, no good. But yeah, so like 2024, I kind of worked on building my coaching platform. I had been training a few people in person at the time, which I didn't necessarily hate, but I didn't love it. Like having to race around the whole Long Island to like train somebody for an hour. I did build really awesome relationships by doing like that. Basically spent 2024 just kind of like rebuilding myself and trying to heal from like childhood traumas and just like teenage traumas and preteen traumas. And I don't think we ever really talk about what we go through as kids or like as teenagers. You know, there's things that my family didn't even do. There's situations and circumstances that I put myself in that have really traumatized me, and just things I had to heal from. So I really was intentional about that during 2024. But there were some crazy things that happened that, you know, I think kind of were just like the stepping stone for me to just be like, you know, what do I have to lose? When you're trying to better your life, or when God is giving you something better, like He's going to take away things that are no longer fitting into this new life that you're creating for yourself and that He's helping you create. I did lose a best friend at the time, who I thought was my soulmate. I really thought that, I could word this better, I never pictured my life without this person. And, you know, having well aware abandonment issues, like I felt like the person I never thought was going to abandon me did. So imagine how that triggered me. But I had to heal from that, and I have to every day be intentional about like just accepting the fact that like people are gonna leave, you know what I'm saying, and that's out of my control. And just like having parents in my life who were very inconsistent, like it really just was probably, I would say, equally painful to like the loss of my parents. Like the loss of like my soulmate, of my best friend, was equally painful to losing my parents. You know, the loss of that relationship actually pushed me closer to somebody who I think was more in alignment with who I was trying to be at that time in my life and who I am today, actually, which is my best friend Amy, who I literally adore. It's my heart, my half a brain. I love that bitch, because without her, like, I would not be the person that I am right now. I mean, even looking back to a couple of years ago when we started hanging out, like, the bitch taught me how to use CapCut. Like, I would not be where I'm at on Instagram if it was not for her, because she literally just, from CapCut to making a simple suggestion one day when I was confiding in her, to pray to God, a God that I didn't believe in at the time, but who was very much real, and my life is a testimony of that. But like I said, all of this is besides the point. You know, I have been dealing with some things at home with my immediate family, and you know, I was kind of just tired of like that chaotic environment that I grew up in, and the dysfunctional environment that I grew up in. And I say this like, I love my family, I really do, and you know, I just didn't have a normal life, and I was really looking for that peace. And you know, I think that the next step in my healing journey, you know, to be the best version of myself and to be who I am today, was to remove myself from environments that were like not helping me grow into the person that I wanted to be in. So I just felt like, you know, leaving that toxic relationship, leaving that job that made me feel bound to be regular for the rest of my life, um, losing a friendship that I don't think was serving my highest self. Just all those situations kind of like put a battery in my back, and like I'm just like, well, if I've already experienced my worst days, right? There was just so many things that I just feel like I was really just looking for peace in my life, and I was trying to be peace as well, and it was hard. But going back to the question that everybody and their grandma wants to know about me, why Puerto Rico? So I don't find my move to Puerto Rico to be coincidental. For the simple fact that, you know, I actually have an aunt, my tia. She lives in Rincon, which is about 3 hours away from where I live in San Juan. And I had visited her for the first time ever when I was 17. I came on a trip with my other aunt, her son, and my brother, my younger brother. And basically, in that moment, I just really envied the life that the island people get to live. And yes, I grew up in Long Island, but this is a different type of island life, okay? And she also lives on the more chiller side of Puerto Rico, which is the west side. It's like more chillax, surfer vibes, you know, beach, drink, chill. That's the vibe. I live in San Juan, which is like metropolitan. It makes more sense for someone my age who's still working and networking. It makes more sense for me to live in an area like this, but it's fine because what I really was looking to do was get off of expensive ass Long Island, cold ass Long Island, toxic ass New York. You know what I'm saying? So I don't find that it was coincidental. You know, in that moment on that trip, I wanted to find a way at 17 years old. How can I move to Puerto Rico? So like after that, I had visited her a couple other times, and I just felt like I thrive in tropical weather. I think that I am happy when it's warm. I'm happy to wake up when there's palm trees outside, and it's just a different vibe over here. You know, I'm used to New York, like whether or not I grew up in the city or Long Island, like the lifestyle of New York is very hustle and bustle. Like you're gonna be working 2 to 3 jobs just to make ends meet. I was at a point in time working 3 jobs, and I was still living at home in a bedroom. And you know, I didn't want to live a life like that. I would never want to live a life like that again, to be honest with you. So I was really just like slowly manifesting it for myself, because I found myself, and why I kind of mentioned some of my tragedies earlier in the conversation was because like every time that I would go through one of these like traumatic experiences in my life, I would make little comments like, that's it, like I'm just gonna go work a little job in Puerto Rico and live a little life in Puerto Rico. And I think I would joke about it, but deep down in my heart, it was what I really wanted for myself. I wanted peace, and I wanted a calm nervous system. And it is a little bit of a culture shock. I can't deny that, because although it's a part of the United States, like the only thing that's really the same over here is the money. You know, like yes, we use the same currency, but a majority of the people speak Spanish, of course, which I expect them to do so. And I've also been very intentional with learning Spanish, so I'm able to communicate better. Obviously, I think that it's important for me to do that, especially moving to their country where this is the primary language. But yeah, I came to Puerto Rico because I wanted a peaceful life. I wanted to live somewhere hot and tropical I love the Spanish culture, whether it's the food, the music, you know, the people, their family life, their life, like just the way that they live their life. Nobody's in a rush here. Driving out here seriously takes me out of my character. But I'm just so used to being fast paced. Like when I first moved here, I didn't have a car, obviously. And I was taking a lot of Ubers, and I would find myself like rushing to get into the Uber or rushing to get out of the Uber or like take my groceries out of the Uber. And like, I kid you not, almost every single one of my Uber drivers would tell me like, hey, slow down, it's okay, no worries, no worries, I'm in no rush. And I'm like, shit, man, you know what, I'm in no rush too. And honestly, I really love it here. But remember when I told you that I was gonna go all over the place with my stories? So the main reasoning why I wanted to move to Puerto Rico, or how I ended up here, was because I was really looking to slow down and live a more peaceful life and calm my nervous system down. And I was manifesting it. Like I said, I was kind of making it happen by every time I would joke about it. And I'm telling you, when I was going through that toxic relationship, I crashed out and quit my job, I literally said, like, that's it, I'm moving to Puerto Rico. Or when my mom died, that's it, I'm moving to Puerto Rico. Or when my dad died, that's it, I'm moving to Puerto Rico. Any little inconvenience that started happening in my life after that, I would joke. It's just so crazy to like reflect on it sometimes, because like I am happy. I think I'm the happiest I've ever been. It gets lonely sometimes, but I wouldn't trade it for anything, you know? Whatever. Going back to Puerto Rico. There is a story about like the final hoorah, you know, like when you're just sick and tired of being sick and tired, like that last little thing that kind of made me be like, that's it, I'm leaving New York. Because that's basically how it happened for me. So I've visited Puerto Rico a handful of times, but the last trip that I took, which was in July of 2024, this is post best friend breakup, post toxic relationship, post healing journey. I come on a trip with my two friends, Anthony and Andrew. I love them. I seriously love them. It was such an amazing trip. It's nothing but vibes, and you know, little thoughts were occurring to me like, like this is it, this is the life for me, this is the life I want to live. I was having such a good time that I was really trying to figure out, how the fuck do I create a life for myself on this island? It's still so crazy to think about the fact that like I'm literally looking outside right now and I'm just like, bitch, like you're literally living in Puerto Rico. But there was a day that we went to Playa Ocean Park, and you know, we're chilling, we're drinking our little gasolina drinks, and we're having a good time, swimming, laying in the sun. And this lady comes up, and she's sitting on a log, and she's smoking weed. And she kind of just like starts talking to us, and she, you know, asking us where we're from, and we're personable people. She was Puerto Rican, born and raised in Puerto Rico, lived in the States for a little bit, but she had recently just moved back to Puerto Rico. And she's just kind of like, she was a yapper. Like, this lady talked a lot, but I can be a yapper too, so don't get it twisted. So whatever, we're chit-chatting for mad long, and like she just kept saying like, you guys should just move here, you guys should just move here. Like, I would make jokes to her like, trust me, like I've always wanted to live in Puerto Rico. And she's like basically trying to encourage me, like, and I'm telling her too, I'm literally sitting there telling her, I'm like, I could do it, like I have no kids, I have no man, I have my own business, like, you know what I'm saying, just talking it up, like, bitch, I'm about to be moving to Puerto Rico. But at this time I wasn't really like believing that it was even possible. So whatever, you know, I'm talking to this lady, I'm not thinking anything of it. Eventually we part ways. And then like, I don't know if like there was like a night or two later, it's still on my mind, mind you. I'm still thinking about, how the fuck can I move to Puerto Rico? I love the vibe, I love the culture, I love, you know, I love it here. There's a night that we go out to Old San Juan and we end up in La Factoria. You know, obviously we're out having a good time, we're drinking, and I'm a little bit lit, but I go to like this bathroom in the bar, which is actually not, that bathroom is no longer open because they're renovating, or they made it into like a closet or something. But there's a sign on the wall that says something along the lines of like, your fear is your greatest enemy, or so, something like that, right? And I take a picture of it, and in that moment I'm sitting there, you know, like
those moments when you're drunk in the bathroom by yourself and like you're kind of just like sitting there and you're having that revelation that you're drunk, like everything's like, woo, I'm lit, you know? I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this shit and I'm like, that's it. That's my sign. That's my sign that I'm meant to take a risk. I'm meant to leave the nest at home. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it, right? And I think we've all had that moment in our life where it's like, I don't know how, but I'm going to. And it's funny because I think my best friend is at this point in her life as well. And I really try to speak so much life into her when it comes to this, because fear will have you 75 years old looking back at your life and wishing that you did, or upset that you didn't, you know? You don't lose anything by taking risks. You learn things. The most I think that you'll lose is money. And money comes and goes. Money's not everything. You know what I'm saying? It's an experience. It's a lesson learned. That's how I look at my life now. Everything that I've been through, everything that I'll go through is teaching me something. Anyway, I see this little picture on the wall. I take a picture of it with my phone. I don't tell anybody what I saw. I leave the bathroom. I go on about my night. And then we end up in La Placita, of course, because, you know, we're tourists for the weekend, and it's like, that's where you go if you're a tourist. And whatever, shaking my ass, we're having a good time, we're lit, you know, vibes is flowing, and we end up meeting some kid, and he was, I honestly didn't even, like, now that I think back at it, like, he wasn't that cute, but there was something about him that was kind of, like, drawing me to him. And, like, I had a crush on him. So, like, whatever. He was super cool, super sweet. Just Puerto Rican, of course. He was a local. And we ended up kind of just, like, spending the rest of the night with him. And to be honest with you, at a point in time, my two friends parted ways with me and the kid that we met. And I kid you not, it felt like a romantic love story for me. Like, I'm only reflecting on it because this is actually part of the reason why I was like, okay, this is like, you know, this is meant for me. But whatever, we part ways with my two friends, and like him and I end up going to a beach in Condado, or Isla Verde. We were in Isla Verde, and you know, he drives us there, and mind you, La Placita was closing, so what time could it have been? 4 a.m. at the time, 3 a.m.? And whatever, he brings us to this beach. We strip down into our underwear and we go swimming under the stars in fucking Puerto Rico. And we swam and we talked until the sun rose. So it felt like a love story for me. It felt like a movie, and it was very romantic, and I had a good time. But I ended up like liking this kid a little bit, right? So here I am thinking like, you know, I've made a friend here. I'm seeing signs all over the place. So I go home, right? Trip's over now. I go home and I tell my friends, I'm moving to Puerto Rico. Just like that. I don't think anybody believed me. I don't even know if I believed myself at that time. But you know what I do when I want something to be more real for myself? I tell everybody about it. Like, I know people are like, oh, keep things silent until, like, they're actually happen. No, fuck that. If you want something to happen, you tell people about it, because that's outside accountability. That's making things more real. When you try to do things without any accountability, like, it's easy to kind of fall short on the promises that you make to yourself or the risk that you're willing to take, you know? So then I go on and I tell my family, I'm moving to Puerto Rico. Bitch, you're crazy. No, I'm dead ass. I kid you not. Nobody believed me. Nobody believed me. But I was so fucking serious. So, you know, I felt like I had a friend that was going to help me get situated, and I wasn't going to be by myself. Although I have my aunt here, she's far away. So I waited like a week. Yeah, I kind of waited a week. And I booked the one-way ticket. Bitch, now shit's getting real, okay? I booked the fucking flight. I don't even know where the fuck I'm gonna live, you know? So at this point in time, it's like the beginning of August, and I booked my one-way ticket for October. And like time is just getting closer and closer and closer, and I'm looking for places to live, and I'm kind of like, shit, man. I don't know how the frick I'm doing it. I don't know how I'm afford it. What am I gonna do? How am I gonna take my coaching? So like obviously doubts crept in, right? And I did think I was out of my mind for a second, but not for a second. Not even for a split second did I think about changing my mind. I was so set on creating this new life for myself. Like I was doing it. I don't care who. And the thing is like I'm a big girl now, right? I'm 25, like 24. There was nobody to tell me no. There was nobody to tell me you can't. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the best part. So it was like, I'm doing it. So I ended up reaching out to this lady. Remember the lady I told you at the beach? I ended up reaching out to her and kind of just like inquiring or just asking like if she had any advice for me or like recommendations, places, or if she knew where I could find like a cheap apartment. And kind of was like, oh, like it's so crazy. I feel like we're meant to have met each other because I have to go back to Florida and I really don't want to lose my lease on my apartment. I only paid $500 for it, and it was a cute apartment, and she lived in like a little tiny 1-bedroom. I'm thinking, cool, I'm about to take this lady's apartment. My family keeps suggesting to me like, you know, why don't you just go there for a few months and see how you like it? Bitch, I'm about to be 8 months into this bitch, and I haven't thought about coming home one time because I have never moved back to New York. But anyway, off track, off topic again. So yeah, I'm thinking I'm taking this lady's apartment, $500 a month. Like now I'm getting shit ready, squared away. I'm telling everybody. I'm literally telling the lady at the freaking checkout, I'm moving to Puerto Rico. The hairdresser, everybody and their grandma had to know that I was leaving. Because it was making it more real. And like my family was happy for me, but I think that they were scared for me too. Because like I said, it is a culture shock. Anyway, the time was getting closer to me getting ready to move, and this lady, I hadn't heard from her, so I had reached out, and she literally, this is 2 weeks before I was supposed to move. I had to think about the time frame. 2 weeks before I was supposed to move, right? I got my one-way ticket. I already packing up all my stuff, and everybody and their grandma knew I was leaving. And you know, I hit her up and I'm like, hey, like I just want to confirm like we're still good to go, like everything's all set, it's cool, da da da. And she's like, oh, by the way, like my landlord's not really okay with you taking the apartment. And I'm like, bitch, you mean to tell me that you waited 2 motherfucking weeks before I'm supposed to motherfucking move to let me know? Like, bitch, I'm not mad at you because it's not your fault, but like, bitch, what am I supposed to do? And you would think I didn't even panic. I just pivoted. So my friend that I met here in Puerto Rico, he suggested like, why don't you start looking on Airbnb, rent an Airbnb for a little bit, and then it'll give you time to, you know, find somewhere to live. And I'm like, you know what, that's a good idea. So I'm looking on Airbnb, I find this house that I'm in, and I really, really like it. It's very bright, it's airy, it's newly remodeled, everything's kind of my style. Because it's an Airbnb, like it came with a couch and a table and the bed, so I'm like, this could work. So I hit up the host and I'm like, hey, like I'm looking to move to Puerto Rico, and you know, I see this house. I think it's a very lovely house. It's beautiful. I'd like to maybe rent it out for a month, check it out, see how it is. And he was down. You know, I rented it on Airbnb for the month, and then like literally 2 days later, I was like, you know what? I don't even want to risk this Airbnb getting booked by somebody else after me. Let me just ask him if he'll rent it to me long term. And he was cool with it. So long story short, I packed my shit. That last day, before I left for the airport, I cried. I was scared. I was fucking scared. I cried so hard. I think that was the first time that I cried. And I had admitted, not only to myself, but to my best friend, that I was scared. And I was leaving, just me and my cat, my 2 suitcases. And I came and conquered and I sewed and whatever the fuck, but I ended up in Puerto Rico, and almost 8 months later, I'm still here and I still love it. I think that I've made the best decision for myself. I'm happy, I'm calm, I'm at peace. There's not many things that can take me out of this mindset. I do get lonely at times, and I do cry sometimes, and I miss my family sometimes, but that's life. That's life. I'm setting myself up to be my best self, my highest self for now and my future. So that's my story. Hopefully I didn't go too much off on a tangent. I think it's like 40 minutes in of me just talking fucking shit. But hopefully when I sit down and edit this, I'll be able to make it more digestible to watch. Because if you're like me, I got a short attention span. And I turn shit off in the middle of it. But that's that. With that being said, I'm going to take a nap. I was going to go to a cafe today. I don't think I'm going to anymore. It's pouring outside now. It's been very rainy here. I think that that's kind of how the spring season here is. It's my first spring in Puerto Rico, so I'm experiencing it for myself, you know? And yeah, I'm going to take a nap, and then I have a little bit of work to get done, and I have salsa at 6:45. So when I wake up and I get my life together, I will come back on here and chit chat with y'all some more. So I didn't end up taking a nap. I kind of just laid down. But I did want to give you guys a house tour, because when I first moved here, a lot of people were asking about it and like if they could see my house. It's very small, very cute. It works for me. Certain things I wish were different, but I'm very appreciative because this is my first place that I've lived in aside from living at home. So I'm gonna start with the kitchen. She's small, but she does what she needs to do. You'd be surprised what I'm able to do. Don't mind that. Let's pretend that's not there. Like, I'm sure some of you guys are wondering like how I'm even able to make reels in here. Like, do you see the counter space? This is what I would change in a different house. But anywho, she's cute. She does what she needs to do. This is my dining room. Also pretty small, but you know, I need pictures for the walls, but I just haven't gotten there yet. The living room, my baby. I used to have a mirror here. My cat broke it literally 3 days ago, but a new one is coming. I ordered it the other day. This is like the outside patio area. I don't know what they call these here in Puerto Rico, but like in America, I think that they would call this like a lanai. Or at least that's what my grandma used to call it. So the floor is kind of dirty. You have to clean it. But it's pretty big out here. It's nice. When I first moved here, this was probably like my favorite spot to hang out. Oh, now my cat's outside. Great. So we keep walking. This is my guest bedroom, which I use as my closet. She's cute. Also not super ideal for me because I don't really get to set up my clothes in here the way that I would like to, but it's nice to have a bed and a space for my guests when they come over. My bathroom, which is probably my favorite part of the house because it's just adorable. So, and then lastly is my room, which I love. My princess station, my Gymshark closet, and yeah. So that's basically it. Also have a backyard. I don't really utilize it often just because like the way that the sun hits is just too much. But yeah, my cute little house. In a few minutes, I'm gonna get ready to go to my salsa lessons. Unshockingly enough, I don't have power. This is like literally like the 4th time within 2 months that I've lost power, which is not uncommon living in Puerto Rico. I know all my
Puerto Ricans watching this is like, welcome to Puerto Rico, bitch. It's frustrating though, because I don't have a generator. And then like when I ask my landlord, like, oh, do you have a generator? He's like, do you know how to use it? And I'm like, no, but what does that have to do with anything? But it's frustrating because it's hot and I would like to be able to charge my phone, or like you can't take a hot shower. I have to like be mindful about how many times I'm opening the fridge, you know, just things like that. But it is what it is. It could be worse. But yeah, I'm gonna get ready to go to my salsa lesson soon, and then I actually have to do my cardio because I was supposed to do my cardio earlier when I was gonna meet up with the photographer, since I was gonna be at the gym again. But he had to reschedule, so now I have to go back to the gym to do it. And I swear I'm gonna do it. You'll see. So I am running late to my salsa lessons. Seems to just be a running late type of day for Nicole. But it's because I couldn't find parking, because where the lessons are, it's almost like the city. So it's like you can't park anywhere, and then where you can park, there's never any space. But I'm heading in now. Just finished my salsa lessons. To be honest with you, I've been slacking on taking salsa lately, but I had a lot of fun today, and I can definitely tell that I got better. So now I'm going to go to the gym to make up my cardio that I didn't do earlier. So I just finished up my cardio, and now it's about 9 o'clock, so I have to go home and muster up my energy to edit a reel at least, because I had to edit a reel today and I didn't do it, and I was supposed to record a reel and I didn't have time for it, and it's my fault because I decided to lay down earlier instead of doing that. But positive thoughts, we got this. So it's actually the following night. I didn't have a chance to close off my video earlier or the day before because I came home and there was no power, so obviously I wasn't editing anything. I wasn't able to do much. But I just want to say that if you stuck around this long, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and honestly just follow along for whatever more I could share with you, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Talk to you guys soon.